Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Dry Fly at the Spokane Arena. On behalf of the Spokane Chiefs, we'd just like to thank you for being here, especially on such short notice, for what will prove to be a very impactful and historic announcement for our organization. In particular, we'd like to welcome a few former and current Chiefs players in attendance today, including current Chiefs forwards Kyler and Keanu Yamamoto, Chiefs forward from 2009 to 2014, currently in the Ottawa Senators system, Mitch Holmberg, Chiefs forward from 2003 to 2007, member of the Carolina Hurricanes, Derek Ryan, and Chiefs forward from 2007 to 2011, a member of the Tampa Bay Lightning, Tyler Johnson. We'd also like to welcome the head coach of the Spokane Chiefs, Don Nachbar, along with the entire Chiefs hockey staff, the Spokane Chiefs business staff, local media members, and Chiefs community partners. Thank you for being here once again. The agenda for today will be quite simple. In just a few minutes, I will introduce Mr. Dave Peer to make an important announcement. He will be followed by our general manager, Tim Speltz, and managing partner, Bobby Brett, to expand on that announcement with their comments. After Bobby, we'll open it up for a brief Q&A session with the media for anybody with any questions. And that's about it. So that concludes my part. So without further ado, it's my pleasure to introduce the Chief Marketing Officer for Brett Sports, Mr. Dave Peer.
Thank you all for coming. We're going to go back a long time today. It was in the summer of 1990, shortly after Bobby led a group that purchased the Spokane Chiefs, when I got a phone call from Bobby and he said, "Can you go to dinner tonight? I want to introduce you to a young guy who we're interviewing for the Spokane Chiefs general manager position." And it turned out that that young guy turned out to be this young man, Tim Speltz. Bobby ended up hiring Tim, and it turned out to be a great decision for the Spokane Chiefs and for hockey in Spokane. And forgive me for reading, it's a little bit of a long resume for Tim. Since that summer of 1990 and the 26 years under Tim's leadership, the organization experienced unsurpassed success in the league, in the Western Hockey League, winning 2 WHL championships, Memorial Cups in 1991 and 2008. In those 26 years, the Spokane Chiefs won 961 regular season games.
More than known.
The organization topped 40 wins 10 times, 50 wins in the season twice, and 100 points 4 times. They added 142 playoff wins, reaching the postseason in 23 of his 26 seasons, the Western Conference Finals 7 times, and the WHL Finals 4 times. Additionally, he was honored as WHL Executive of the Year twice, in 1995-96 and 1999-2000, and the CHL Executive of the Year once in 1995 and 1996. He was part of the management group for Hockey Canada at the 2014 Ivan Halinka Memorial Cup and has been part of Hockey Canada management group for the Canadian Under-20 program for the past 2 years. Today is a great day. It's always great when good things happen to good people. It's always a reason to celebrate when consistently excellent work is rewarded with a great opportunity. It's bittersweet, though, when a co-worker and a partner and a friend moves on, but in this case, we're all very happy for Tim. It's a great day. Today, it's my honor to announce that Tim Speltz has accepted a position in the NHL. He'll become the Director of Western Area Scouting for one of, if not the most prestigious franchise in all of hockey, the Toronto Maple Leafs. Congratulations to Tim.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Dave. Very well done. You're not an easy guy to follow, by the way. You speak very well. I'd like to just elaborate on Dave's comments a little bit, and firstly, thank everybody for coming. It is very special to have everybody that is here in this room that has been a part of things. A lot of people in here go back an awful long way, and that is appreciated, your attendance today. For us, and when I say us, for myself and my family, 2 families. I've got the family of Lynn and Jen and Hannah, my girls, and then also my Spokane Chief family. This opportunity checked a lot of boxes for me. And I think to be involved with the Toronto Maple Leafs, Dave touched on what a marquee franchise it is in the National Hockey League. Is, I think, very special. The opportunity is one that I think fits for me very well on a couple of fronts. But firstly, Mr. Lou Lamoriello and Mark Hunter are the people that I'll be directly working with, and from everything I've seen so far, seem like wonderful people and people that I want to be involved with. Along with the opportunity, and I'll be, as Dave mentioned, it's a scouting capacity. There's no question the priority of the job is to find good players, but also it's all-encompassing, that I'll be able to scout in the NHL, the American League, the Western League, cross over to Ontario and Quebec leagues, NCAA a little bit, and then major tournaments in Europe. So it's all-encompassing, and that I see is a great opportunity. And they make no bones about the fact that they want to find players, and I think that's important, obviously, for any organization. Some of the other boxes, though, for me that it checked is that I could stay living in Spokane, which is important for my family and myself. My wife is a school teacher here. My daughter's, Jenna, goes to medical school in Yakima at Pacific Northwestern Medical University. Hannah goes to Gonzaga. So obviously, I wasn't crazy about traveling more and uprooting their lives. But at the same time, I could also stay involved in the transition of the Spokane Chiefs, my position, which Bobby will get into a little bit later. And that, for me, sort of checked off all the boxes. But also, you know, the excitement and the enthusiasm that everybody in the organization greeted this opportunity with, starting with Bobby when he got the call that they were going to offer me the job, my family, and every one of my close friends and colleagues that I talked to about what a special opportunity it was. And I think until you're involved in junior hockey, you don't necessarily understand that for me it is hockey at a different level. It is all-encompassing. Dave alluded to some of the accomplishments that the organization has had, which is great, but at the same time, we're very responsible for not only developing hockey players, but also developing people. And these young guys are no different than any one of us in this room when at that age, between 16 and 20. You've got all the answers, and I say this a number of times, you're just not sure what the questions are. And you have to help them understand, you have to help them take steps, and you have to help them build a foundation. And that is what I hope I've done in my time here, and that's what I believe I've done, and I expect I'm ready for this opportunity. It's, for me, been very special to be involved and be part of the success, and maybe more importantly, the tradition of the Spokane Chiefs that we've all been a part of. And I've had the privilege to work with a lot of special people for long periods of time. And that, for me, the hockey has been great, and you know, the game isn't a job. At no time is it ever a job, but it's almost a way of life. It's what you do. It's what you do always. And there's a lot of times when I'll have guys call me and ask me, geez, you want to go golfing, or how come you don't golf more? Well, quite frankly, I love what I do. I don't need to be golfing to have a good day. You're working in hockey. It's not a real job, but it is a special job. But at the same time, when you work with the special people, that sure, to me, takes it to another level. So to start, I'd like to recognize and thank a few of them. Bobby and Dave Peer from day one, that's over 26 years. Brenda Nelson, who's been my right arm for over 25 years. And all the things that get done and have to get done that people don't realize, and a lot of times, whether it's the coaches or the management that gets to take the credit, there's so many people that work from behind the scenes, and Brenda was one of those that over the years did nothing but make me look good. Appreciate that. Thank you. Mark Miles has been with us for over 22 years. He's the Vice President of Business Operations. Chris Moulton, over 11 years. Our medical staff, led by PZ Pierce and also Todd Daniels. PZ is over 18 years. Todd is over 8 years. Dr. Mary Smith on the dental side, over 26 years. Heidi Holbert and our host family program, that's been over 20 years. Joe Everson, our academic advisor, 26 years. We've had coaches, Mike Babcock for 6 years, Bill Peters for 6 years. Those guys are both in the NHL now. Don Nockbar's been here for 6, going on his 7th year. And I think a lot of that is relationship-based, and the opportunities that the organization can provide for everyone with the resources we have. But I don't think it's rocket science what we do, but I think at the same time we don't take ourselves too seriously. We understand that it is sport, but we want to make sure people are working hard, proud of what we do, But at the end of the day, the most important thing we have to do is develop young men and give our players an opportunity to grow and to develop, whether it's as people or players. We've got some players and some in this room that have had great accomplishments moving on to the National Hockey League, but we've also had players that have went on to be doctors and lawyers and teachers and educators and have got degrees, and that has been very important with what we've done and very important to me. So I think when we look at it, I sure hope the things that we try to preach as an organization to build a foundation, to be ready for your opportunities when you get them. I hope that now that I have one that I've taken to heart the things that we've tried to preach. I think I have. I'm ready for this new opportunity. I believe that. At the same time, it's going to be challenging. It's going to be an opportunity to learn, which I think helps and makes you young, and it's something I'm really looking forward to. So on behalf of myself and the Speltz family, I'd like to thank everybody in the Chiefs organization, including our fans, for sure our players, for the wonderful opportunity that I've been provided, and I'm looking forward to great things. And as it was alluded to, I'll be able to live in Spokane and hopefully not be far from the Chiefs family. Thank you very much.
At this time, we'll just move right ahead. The managing partner of the Spokane Chiefs, Mr. Bobby Brett.
Dave alluded to a dinner we had at Clink-A-Daggers, right, Dave? And we brought Tim in for an interview, and it was interesting at the time. I was just relocated from Southern California. I rented a place for 6 months, and we had to make a decision on a general manager. And we had, at the time, Ed Chenouth, the late league president, was a big backer of Tim. He said there's a young guy in Medicine Hat who was in a real tough position. They won 2 Memorial Cups in a row. And as Tyler and the boys know here, you don't win Memorial Cups with 16-year-olds. And he had been let go, and he said he's a keen young guy. At the time, there was also a few experienced guys. One guy wanted to be a coach and general manager. They're fancy names. If I mentioned the names, you'd know them today. I don't want to do that. So it was interesting, and I'm in Los Angeles at the time, and I'm talking to my mentor, my high school basketball coach, and I'm explaining to him this decision I have to make. And I'm talking to Cliff Warren, who's still my partner today. And it was interesting, and I said, geez, we had this one guy, he wants to be the coach and general manager. We have another guy who's had experience coaching and whatever, 2 big names. And I said, and there's this third guy. He's about a 30-year-old guy. Here's what we know about him, hard worker. And he said, Bobby, if I was you, I'd go with the young guy. And I said, why is that, Cliff? And he goes, well, you're going to get a young guy. You're going to kind of learn along with him. He's not going to tell you what to do, like these older guys. And, they kind of listen to your old coach. So after that dinner that night, and Tom Lipe was there and Dave was there, and I think shortly thereafter, I kind of listened, and this young guy kind of grew on me. He was a good guy. I liked him, real likable guy. Didn't have all the answers, but knew the work ethic was going to be there. And so 26 years later, Tim, here we're at. But, again, there's a lot of, I look back at the Dave Peers and Andys and Ottos and the guys in the room here. We've made some really good choices in organization. But, Tim, one of the great choices we made that we hired you that day, and 26 years later, we're here to celebrate your next opportunity. So I can't be more thrilled for you. Thanks, Tim.
Thank you.
When I heard about this just recently, I got a call from Mike Babcock. And Mike called me up and just a little small chitter-chat back and forth. How you doing? What's up? And then Mike got nervous on the phone. He said, Bobby, I'm going to tell you something. And this wasn't my idea. And I go, well, what is it, Mike? And he told me the Maple Leafs are going to offer Tim a job. And I said, well, he's going to interview for a job? He said, no, Bobby, they're going to offer him a job. And Mike was nervous, thought I may be mad at him, and not mad. I was thrilled. And I explained to Mike, it's no different than our players that move on, and Tim alluded to not just the hockey players that are playing professionally, but the guys who moved on and to be teachers and coaches and good parents. That's what this is all about. So I was absolutely thrilled, and then I woke up the next morning, and I had to say, what am I going to do now? Tim suggested that maybe Bobby take over, but I told him that's not a good idea. But the more I heard about, the more is excited because Tim was going to be able to maintain his residence here. And as most of you know, Tim's an owner in the team, so he's going to retain his ownership and be a partner in a team. And this transition is going to be really, really important. We have to do something that we haven't done in 26 years. So Tim will be involved with that process. And again, we have a culture we've built up, and whether it's in the office staff or the coaching staff or whatever, but the challenge is going to be how do we keep this same culture. And again, I'm hoping with Tim, when he gets the draft list for the Maple Leafs on those foreign players, maybe we'll have the inside on some young Czech forward or a Russian guy or maybe an American player that's going to leave the college. So, I'm going to be leaning on you more than Mike provides. So this is a day that, again, sad day for a lot of us. We're not going to see Tim as much, but a great day for the organization, great opportunity for Tim, and I just can't be more thrilled. So again, I want to thank you, Tim, for the 26 years, and we're going to see you a lot.
At this point, we'll open it up to questions for anybody. We'll just kind of start and scan across the room if anybody has any questions. Nobody.
Tim, can you just tell us exactly what your role is going to be?
Well, as I said, I will report to Mark Hunter, who's the assistant general manager, and Lou Lamrell, who's the general manager. The way it's been described to me, and I think I understand and I agree 100%. It's a scouting role. My job will be to oversee a small scouting staff in the West, 2 amateur guys, 2 pro guys. We'll be responsible for the Western Conference NHL teams, American League teams, Western Hockey League teams, and then as well they'll have crossover to see other players. I think the biggest thing they're looking for is another set of eyes, another opinion, and obviously to start at least, it's probably going to be more amateur based than pro, and I think that's obviously with a young team and a franchise going that direction, with the amount of draft picks that they have accumulated, I think that's the focus right now. Yes.
With the season, training camp is about to begin. Bobby, what are you going to do for a replacement, or what are we doing for the team as far as the nuts and bolts and how to get the preseason going?
Well, I think Tim will be fully involved with us through training camp, and then he's going to have some responsibilities with Toronto. But we have a big for-hire sign out there starting right now, so it'll be interesting. The applicants. Tim and I have talked about some potential names or whatever. But again, it's a tough time. General managers typically have jobs, and I think in a junior situation, we think this is a very, very attractive job. So we're keeping our ears open, and we're not in a rush. The idea, but Tim will be here through this transition period. And even when the NHL starts, he's going to be in Spokane a couple days a week. So hopefully we can do a thorough process and we can come up with a great candidate to build on the tradition that Tim has brought to us.
I think if I could also expand on that, one of the things that I see is with our organization right now, we're not in rebuild mode. We don't need to reinvent the wheel here. We've got quality people in place. Our coaching staff has done a great job. I mean, they're all returning, led by Don Nockbar and Scott Burt. Our scouting staff, led by Chris Moulton, is in a good spot. I think we've got a number of areas covered. I alluded to our medical staff, our training staff. Everything is in place. We've got a great host family program. Our academic advisor. We've got things in place. Brenda knows everything that the general manager knows for sure. And I think, it's something where we just need to keep things rolling here and make things comfortable for our players, both the list players coming in and their existing players. There's going to be a point, and somebody asked me the other day, is this, gee, this should be a pretty desirable job. And I said, well, I think so. The last guy had it for just over a quarter of a century. So I think it's a good job. So I think there's going to be a lot of good applicants. And I think, again, I've talked about this for a long time. I think the candidate has to be a great fit with Bobby. I think that's important, that the owner-general manager relationship is always good. Mark Miles, the vice president of our business operation, it's going to have to be a fit there. And I think there's going to be a lot of qualified candidates that are interested. There's no question.
Anybody else? Okay, I think that'll about do it. We'll thank you again for coming. I really appreciate it. We'll break off just for a second to help out some TV cameras down below, and other than that, we're all wrapped up. Thank you very much.
Where are your tires going?